Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all of my comic book and film fans, if you clicked on this video, you know what we're here for. We are here to review the Thunderbolts, the movie that has took the media industry by storm the last couple of days and even the last week. It's a film that revealed what the asterisk really meant, which I didn't even know was a thing. And they retitled the film The New Avengers. It was a marketing ploy the last week on social media. The cast of the team were out there redoing the posters from the original posters, scrapping out the Thunderbolts, putting the New Avengers. So, you know, there's been a lot going on. The general consensus of the film, a lot of people liked it. It got a 90 plus critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score was 90 plus. A lot of people in the industry that I keep up with and in the YouTube world and media thought the movie was relatively good. A lot of people were saying Marvel was back. It's been the best movie since Endgame. So I was sitting here like, okay, if you guys were not aware, I've reacted to one of the trailers, just one, because I wasn't relatively excited for this movie. Because none of the characters I truly loved and cared to actually go see outside of Bucky and maybe Yelena to a certain degree. Even Red Guardian, for me, I didn't love him like a lot of people love him. But nevertheless, I decided to give it a chance. Given all the positive reviews, I did not see it the very first week. I saw it. Today is the third week the film is out. So I saw it today's Tuesday, so I saw it last Friday. So I saw it a week and a day after the initial release of the film. I saw it in the matinee, of course. Still, I wasn't paying my hard-earned money to see this movie full price. And I have to say, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have to be totally honest. I don't see where all the hype for this film was at when watching. I'm not saying this is one of the worst MCU films. I am not going to say it's the worst film in this phase. I don't think that. But I'm not generally getting the idea and the consensus behind how this movie, in most people's eyes, was a banger, putting Marvel back on the map, the best movie since Endgame, and all of those claims that I've said, because in my personal opinion, it did not meet all of those categories for me. So we're going to dive deeper into this. I'm just going to split this up into positive aspects of the movies that I like and then the negative aspects of the movie that I liked. But before we get into all that, be sure to hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and to share my content with your best friends and family members who thinks that will enjoy my content. Check out the videos below. Check out the Apple Podcast on Spotify. Follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are just going to get right into it. We are going to start out with the positives, because the negatives are more of what I want to talk about, given that I didn't truly love the film. The positive that I liked, I have 4 of them. The first one being the acting. This, to me, was a well-acted movie. All across the board. From the lady, I keep forgetting her name. Excuse me, I will be right back. Valentina, I keep forgetting her name. From Valentina, from Century, Florence Pugh, playing Yelena, David Harbour playing the Red Guardian, Sebastian Stan playing Bucky. Somewhat, I still had a gripe with his acting. Well, I mean, his acting was okay. And the lady playing Ghost and the guy playing John Walker, everybody did a good job. Acting all across the board was very good. There was no weak spots. I didn't get to a scenario where I was watching the film where the acting just pulled me out of the movie, which has happened to me a multiple amount of times. Nobody I got sick of. I know a lot of people were saying that John Walker was a butthole, but in my opinion, he was probably my favorite character throughout the whole movie. And that is that. characters I relatively enjoyed. That's a good one for me because, like I said, I didn't necessarily care for any of these characters outside of Bucky going into this movie. I watched the Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I didn't care for John Walker's character that much. Ghost didn't. I mean, she was okay. Didn't love her. Yelena, she's okay. Didn't love her. Red Guardian, definitely wasn't a big fan of him as well because I found him relatively annoying to a certain degree. Sentry, new character, never heard of him. Not a big comic book extraordinaire when it comes to the Marvel Universe, that deep into the lore. So I didn't know what to go in and expect, but I relatively enjoyed that character as well. The only one I know I keep using relatively, but in general, I didn't enjoy Bucky in this movie for some reason. I guess maybe because he wasn't with Captain America or he wasn't with Falcon. Well, Captain America meaning Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Falcon meaning Sam Wilson. I guess maybe this is probably the first time we've actually seen him without those two in the film, in the movie, and I don't know if Sebastian, it's just something that feel right, I guess. I don't know. Sebastian Stan's acting in this movie with Bucky. Bucky just felt like this. He was like, okay, I'm just working. I'm doing this job to try and figure out what Valentina is doing. Valentina is evil. You know, he just didn't have no spirit in his character. Like, he was like this old downbeat guy. Like, oh, I lost my seat as the part of the council. Whatever he was doing. I know they had the funny moment in the beginning of the film where he had trouble with his public speaking at whatever position he had in politics. I cannot quite remember. Congressman, I can't even remember. Senator, who knows? I don't know. So that's it. Special effects and fight scenes were pretty good to good, very good in the most part. The only time I kind of got tuned out from special effects and VFX and CGI and all that was the part where Sentry, they introduced Sentry and they had that whole fight with the Thunderbolts as well. If you have not seen the Thunderbolts, I know I'm not giving away a lot coming in. This is going to be a relatively spoiler-free review, but if you really haven't seen the movie, I would click off right now because I'm going to end up talking about some spoiler-specific stuff towards the end of the video. But yeah, just wanted to put that little disclaimer out there. And the little scene there at the end where it's been in the trailer as well, where Yelena was flipping across the thing. So the special effects to me was pretty good. All the scenes they had with Sentry and the Void, the fight scenes with the characters, everything was pretty good. And I can say relatively the first half I was into. You had the opening scene where what we saw in the trailer where Yelena just falls off the tower. She goes finish the mission for Valentina, and she has that moment with Red Guardian. We'll get into details later on. And she gets her second mission, then she gets trapped with all the other Thunderbolts. That's how they meet each other. And that's the first half of the film. They get out of the scenario that they were in. And well, no, you know what? Screw it. We're going to get to a full-on just spoiler review here. I'm going to just give you all my thoughts. The opening scene where Yelena was jumping off the tower, completing the mission for Valentina. She goes on to transition to wanting to seek counsel from Red Guardian because she's struggling with the idea of being alone. She's tired of being alone. She's tired of working for Valentina. She wants to try something different. I want to say more than likely she didn't want to do bad things anymore. She tells Valentina that, and then Valentina sends her on another mission where she meets the other characters in the movie: Ghost, John Walker, Taskmaster, a character that obviously Marvel must have hated as well, given that they went ahead and killed her off in the first minute that she had of screen time. So they all meet, and they find out that they were all sent there by Valentina to kill each other because Valentina is trying to get the feds and the United States of America off her back before they take her out of her seat in the political spectrum. I don't know exactly what position she had again. I forgot as well. You had that. They end up realizing that in the end. They fight each other, and they figure out that they are being set up by Valentina. We get introduced, and in this mist, while they're fighting and figure out that they are being played by Valentina, we get introduced to the character Bob, because he gets out of this box that was material sent to get incinerated alongside the characters of the Thunderbolts as well. And Bob's into the mix, and they all work together to get out of the place where they are being captivated at. So Valentina meets them there to try and finish them off, because it was word that it was given word by Valentina's assistant that they were still alive and they weren't incinerated with the fire. So Valentina meets them there and tries to finish the job, and the Thunderbolts end up getting out of it. And Red Guardians ends up picking them up out of the middle of the desert. And that's pretty much, and you had that's the scene where you had they were in the middle of the desert, they're in the car with David Harbour, Red Guardian, and that's when Bucky does his thing, comes in, captures them. And after that, the movie was downhill there for me. And this is where we're going to get into the negatives. A lot of people enjoyed this aspect of the movie. I did not. This movie was very much centered around mental health. And all of these characters are put together. They're described in this movie by they're a team full of nobodies. Nobody loves them. They got their own things going on in this world. Ghosts. She's never had a family. She's living with this curse, that you could say, of where she could, if she's her body is made of particles, so she's not a real human being. Taskmaster was already dead. Yelena's struggling with her identity in life. She's lonely. Red Guardian, not so much. He was outside of the mental side of this movie. He was more giving counsel to Yelena. Bucky as well, he didn't really have an effect with it. He felt their pain, because we all know Bucky's past. John Walker was dealing with some family issues, because I believe they specified that he was taken away from his kid or something like that. I cannot remember. And obviously Yelena's dealing with being lonely, which Yelena is the main driving point, her and Bob, in this movie, because Sentry is the character. He ends up being the big bad at the end with the Void, which that's what took me out of it. So her, the Bob character, and Yelena were the big pivotal points behind the mental health component of this film. And people gave it its praises for that. They felt like it was something new. The MCU has never dealt with type of real world things when it comes to the mental health aspect of it, and this and that. Just me personally, I did not care about that. I was on the record saying the part in the film where they were going up the chute when trying to escape, and when Yelena first touches Bob and gets that psychological image where they had the scene where they're in the forest and she ends up getting her best friend killed. And what she snaps out of it, John Walker's like, "Hey, are you done with your little therapy session?" That was like my favorite part of the whole movie, probably, because he was pretty much bashing that aspect of the film. I don't, and I'm not trying to downplay mental health at all. Obviously, people's dealt with it before. You know, I've witnessed it. I know how it can feel. It is a real thing. Coming from someone who actually didn't like Joker 2 for many obvious reasons, but I thought Joker 1 was relatively okay and pretty decent, and I still don't like mental, because I have this argument, and I've said it for many times. I don't like certain aspects of life in a comic book type movie, real world aspects in a comic book type movie, and this is one of those things in mental health. Yes, can it still be a component in many facets in comic books and films when it comes to anything sci-fi? I get it. But I wouldn't have had a problem with it if it was minor. Like, as I can honestly say, I didn't relatively have a problem with it until the very end of the film to where it was the focal point and the reason why you defeat the big bad. That's my only gripe. I don't think I really had a problem with it throughout the first half of the film because it was minor and it wasn't the focal point of the film. But that's just me. That's how I felt. Next point, Bucky was meaningless. Felt meaningless. Honestly, if you took him out of the film, I don't think it would have mattered. I really think that Bucky was a ploy by Marvel to get people to go see this film. And I'm one of the suckers that fell for that. But he didn't show up hardly at all. He didn't really have any. He didn't have a big the scene in the desert is the only really cool thing he did the whole movie. Before that scene, he was pretty much shown as the congressman with the parties, and he's talking with Valentina's assistant about her trying to turn in Valentina. And then at the end of the film, he was just pretty much there to help. No dialogue much. Just felt useless. He was a useless character in this movie, in my opinion. Ghost had a lot more to do. John Walker had a lot more to do, even though it felt like he was hardly in the movie. Red Guardians, David Harbour, he felt like he had a more prominent role in this film. I just felt like Bucky was out of place. He felt meaningless. If you took him out of the film, it didn't affect it. I think Bucky was only there just to satisfy the component of figuring out how to save them. I think the writer who directed it wrote this movie was like, okay, we're at this point where they're captured. They got to get out of the desert. Oh, let's just ride in there where Bucky just saves them. Let's just give a reason to put Bucky in the film. That's just me. I don't know, guys. Y'all let me know. Am I being too egregious? I mean, it just didn't. It felt like Bucky didn't need to be there. Next point, and I said this to my girlfriend during the movie. And yes, I went to go see this with my girlfriend. You can say I'm not biased because she actually enjoyed it. Okay? But we're going to talk about that later on. This didn't feel like a Marvel film or a superhero film in general. And I made this statement while I was watching the movie. There was a point in the middle towards the final, right at the end of the second act, in the beginning of the first act in the movie. And I was sitting here like, wow, does this not feel like a Marvel film? I couldn't quite put my finger on it as to why I felt that way. I still, as I'm talking to you guys now, I really don't know why I felt that way, and I still feel that way. Maybe it's because they tried something new with the mental health aspect of things. I cannot quite figure it out. Maybe it's because it's a team full of villains, characters I really relatively haven't even heard of, because in comparison right quick to Suicide Squad, which is a movie I think is very underrated, I already knew, because I am a massive DC fan, you already knew who Deadshot was. I knew who Harley Quinn was, Killer Croc. The only person that I didn't know was the fire guy, El Diablo, I think was his name, and then the Asian chick, the samurai chick. Them was the only two characters I did not know. In this film in general, from a comic book knowledge point of view, outside of Bucky, I don't even know if Yelena's a real character in comic books. I don't know if she's made up or not. Didn't know the U.S. agent, didn't know Ghost. The only person I knew was Taskmaster, even though it's a gender swapped character. Killed off, so she had no say in the movie. And then the Red Guardian, didn't know that he existed either. So maybe that had a component to do with it, why it didn't feel like a Marvel film, because it's characters that I did not know existed in Marvel lore. Maybe that's the reason why, or just in general, it didn't feel like a superhero film because it's filled with villains / anti-heroes, and they saved the day in a non-satisfying type of way. And that leads me to my next point. A very satisfying ending. As I alluded to earlier, The ending was basically Yelena helped Bob out with his mental war with the Void, and that's how you defeated the villain. Um, yeah, very underwhelming. I think they did a good job with how they did it. Don't get me wrong, because when you've written the ending like that, you're already going into this movie. It is a supernatural, super being type of villain and character that you already know the Thunderbolts have no shot of beating in combat. Period. No way, form, or fashion. So you have to figure out a way for them to come out on top of this in this movie, and that's the creative decision that they made to go this whole route with the mental health stuff. I get it. I think they did a great job with what they were able to do given the situation they were in with the film. But still, it was unsatisfying to me. I guess because I'm used to some type of combat to win the day over in some way, form, or fashion. Something not mental related, maybe, I guess. I don't know. Lastly, I got bored in the final act. I can say my girlfriend was looking at me and she could feel me tuning out. It was right after Sentry died. I think I was tuned out right then. That's when I completely tuned out. I was beginning to tune out in general when they were on the way to get Sentry, and then the dialogue when Sentry was introduced, it kind of was like it was already going down a steep slope for me. I was getting bored. That whole confrontation was bored. It was weird, which that happens a lot in this film. And then it just got to the very end with the whole Void thing, and then Yelena getting captured in the Void, trying to say, but that's when I just tuned out. And that's it. That was the film. That's what made me feel super underwhelmed and left and puzzled, trying to figure out, man, people really thought this was better than every single film that's been released since Endgame. And maybe another element too that I did that I can that's not on here, but I'm gonna chalk this one in for free. It's not in my notes. Maybe not enough action. There's a lot of dialogue in this film. Outside of the very first act of the film, where Yelena's jumping off the roof, interrogating the guy, trying to complete the mission. Then 5 minutes later in the movie, she's going on her next mission. Then they fight, the Thunderbolts fight. Then you got the next scene where the soldiers come in. That's a fight scene. And after that, you got the little scene in the desert. That's pretty much it for the rest of the film. And then you got the one little scene right there between Sentry. That's it. That's your fight scenes in a superhero film. It's a whole lot of dialogue. So, guys, I don't know what you want me to say. I really don't. I went in it open-minded. And while I was watching, I was still open-minded. This is my true feelings. Even my own girlfriend thought it was as good as other people were making it out to be. Because when Bob was first introduced and he got his powers, my girlfriend looked at me and was like, "Oh my God, Jay, this is so much better than Captain America: Brave New World." And I was sitting there like, "Really? You're getting that gist?" So I'm not being biased here. I was with somebody who actually enjoyed the film, and I can say wholeheartedly, if I were to watch either movie again, I would rather watch Brave New World. I guess maybe because the stakes felt higher, it was more entertaining in my opinion. The pacing felt urgent. And maybe that's my problem with this film. This film didn't feel urgent. There was no just if it didn't feel like the world was in the balance if things didn't go right in no aspect in the Thunderbolts. Even when the Void was there, I was sitting there like, okay, he's here. So I wasn't sitting here excited like, oh my gosh, how are they going to stop the void? Oh, wow. That wasn't me. I was sitting there like, oh, cool, the void's here. Oh well, how you gonna defeat him? That was literally that was how I felt. I just didn't feel like this film had no urgency. And in my wholeheartedly opinion, if I were to rewatch a film, I would rather watch Captain America: Brave New World. I do think though that Thunderbolts is possibly one of the best films since Endgame released, to a certain degree. I think that for me personally, I think Captain America: Brave New World's better than Thunderbolts. Shang-Chi, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I want to say that's it. I think Thunderbolts is better than Doctor Strange. It's better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's better than Eternals. I don't think I'm missing anything. I haven't watched the Marvels to this day. I don't think I'm missing any films. So yeah, there's your list. So could you say that the Thunderbolts is probably one of the best things that's been released since Endgame? Yes, but that's not a very good thing to write home about, because guess what? It's only better in general, in a lot of people's eyes, it's only better than Deadpool and Wolverine. I didn't forget about that. It is not better than Deadpool and Wolverine. So the only films that you can definitively say that is better in most people's eyes than the Thunderbolts is Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Those three films. So it's sitting in the 3, 4, 5 range, depending on certain people's rankings. So there you go. The film currently right now in the box office is still doing subpar. I know a good guy that I watch in John Campia said what they got going on so far, Marvel should be proud of. The film is on track to make around $450 million worldwide once its theatrical run ends. Okay, the production budget was 180, marketing budget was over 100 million, so you could say altogether it was 280 million. 400 some million could generate a profit, but overall, it didn't have an opening weekend as good as Captain America: Brave New World. It was on par with Eternals, and right now it's pacing just as good as Eternals did in the box office. So, in the general point of view, it's still not a hit. I even tweeted it out, and I'm gonna talk about the post credit scene just a little bit. You had the two post credit scenes. The very first one, which I think was very funny, I loved it. Red Guardian was enjoying the fact that he's a new Avenger now, and you had that, and then in the big, and this is something I have to give Marvel credit about. When they were marketing this whole new Avengers thing, I didn't know if this was a good or a bad idea, because you're sitting here saying, "Oh, okay." You're going from characters that are beloved: Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, and everybody else that you can think of. You're going from them to Yelena and US Agent and all them scrubs, and you're calling these guys the new Avengers. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's a good market ploy or not. Because even if you're a general audience who's not tapped into comic books like that, you're sitting there thinking like, what? What is this? But I can't say they poked fun of it in the end of the film, because in the post-credit scene, Sam Wilson was trying to file copyright for the Avengers name, and they were talking about, oh, the people don't believe us are the Avengers, and they were poking fun at that idea. And then it led on to, they teased the Fantastic Four coming into the real world by their spaceship. And I had this thought, and I posted it on Twitter as well. Avengers Doomsday is going to be going into Doomsday is going to be the least hype Avengers movie that's going to be made. Because from Avengers Endgame, all these movies, all the way up to Avengers Doomsday, even the good ones, had nothing to do with the lead up to Doomsday. None of these films have. The good ones that I pointed out, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 didn't have nothing significant leading up to anything. Neither did Deadpool and Wolverine. Or I done and forgot what the other film was. But you get my drift. None of these movies have felt like they've led up to something like the movies of the past. In the Phase 1 and Phase 2 and Phase 3. Phase 4 and Phase 5 has felt like they are just individual movies just saying they exist in the Marvel Universe. Not leading up to the big bad. Obviously, this has a lot to do with Kang and the Jonathan Majors thing, so they had to make a drastic shift to change villains and course correct and change up the whole scheme. I 100%, I get that point. But still, though, you could have just postponed that whole ordeal. You know what I'm saying? And now you're just trying to tease audiences with the idea of, okay, we got to introduce Doctor Doom. We're going to Doctor Doom's the big bad all of a sudden. When Doctor Doom's had no implication in none of these movies whatsoever, like Thanos did. We knew that Thanos has been pulling the strings in all the events of the past movies all along. That's not the case with Doctor Doom. Relatively, that wasn't the case with Kang either. I left this movie sitting and thinking like, man, I'm genuinely not excited for Doomsday like I was the other Avengers films. And I don't see a scenario where Fantastic Four is going to change that. I hope I'm wrong. I want Doomsday to be good. I want Doomsday to be fun. And I want Doomsday to instill that hope back in me. But I genuinely left the theater thinking there is a possibility that there is no chance that Marvel will ever be the same like it used to be. In no way, form, or fashion. And that's the bottom line. I felt that. I told my girlfriend that because I really just feel like, man, I think Marvel's just lost its mojo. I think they might have lost their fastball. It was a good run. Even Deadpool, I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Deadpool and Wolverine. Do I still think Marvel can pump out good movies? Absolutely. And for Bob Iger and everybody to say, you know, this movie here, Thunderbolts, has been a transition from quality to quality instead of quantity. I don't see it. Is it a better film than what they've been making? Absolutely, but still, I'm lukewarm. I don't feel fulfilled by watching this movie. I don't feel fulfilled enough to be able to be excited about Fantastic Four. I'm excited about Fantastic Four in general because I am a Fantastic Four fan. And I want to know how the events of Doomsday are going to happen. It's the only reason why I'm here. Outside of that, I don't know, guys. It's how I truly feel. I'm not sugarcoating anything. This is a raw reaction. I'm going with the flow as I'm talking with you guys right now. This is my honest review. And it's podcast style. It's not fancy. It's not going to have all these edited things. It's not pre-planned. It's not pre-scripted to a certain degree, although I did write down bullet points of what I liked and disliked. But this is my true thoughts. And this is how I feel about this movie. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast video. Let me know what you guys think about my comments. Do you guys agree with me? I know majority of the internet is not. I already could foresee that coming. But in general, I wanted to know what you guys thought about the movie. Did you guys enjoy it? What did you guys enjoy about it? What did you not enjoy about it? And are you excited for Doomsday or not? I thank you guys so much for being with me for this video. I thank you guys for sitting for this long rant, and I know it's been a long time. And we have reached the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for sitting here for my long soliloquy on this movie. It was raw, uncut, so I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys enjoyed, let me know by hitting the like button on the video. Comment down below, did you guys enjoy the Thunderbolts? What did you like about it? What did you dislike about it? What do you guys expect is going to happen in Doomsday? Are you excited for Doomsday? Are you excited for Fantastic Four? I want to know everything down below in the comments. Check the link in the description below to check out the Apple Podcast on Apple. Podcast and Spotify, and check out my other videos related to sports, comic book podcasts, trailer reactions, and everything down below in my playlist as well. I will see you guys in the next video. Do not hesitate to hit subscribe to the channel. And I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.